I keep on thinking about when I was young, I always wanted my life to turn out differently than what it was back then. When I was in middle school, I thought things would get better when I was in high school, and when I was in high school, I thought things would get better when I was in college, and when I was in college, you know, I thought things would get better after I graduated college and started working. The reality of the situation is that it's never enough. We have this image of a life that we want, but this image never meets the reality of what we wanted out of life. And I'm just thinking, I'm still relatively young. I turned 24 recently, and I thought that this was going to be the time in my life when things were good. I think I'm happier right now than I have been at any other point in my life, but I don't know, it's just, is it enough? Is it ever enough? Will we ever reach a point in our lives when we're like, wow, this is sufficient. I don't need anything else ever again. I think the happiest I've ever been in my life was actually during COVID, because when you're just home living with your parents, you don't get the sensation that you're missing out on anything. Like when you're in school, when you have people around you who are all doing things, you tend to think, wow, I should be doing more right now. But then it never hits the way that you want it to. I think a lot of time we think that the world around us is going to grant us happiness. But I don't think positive things happen to us. Certainly a lot of negative things happen to us that are completely outside of our control, but positive things in our lives, those are things that we actively pursue. I feel like a lot throughout my life, I've always felt that I never had enough friends. And I don't even know where this insecurity or inclination, or whatever you want to call it, started. I don't think anything particularly traumatic happened to me that resulted in me constantly wanting to be closer to other people. But it's hard to know when it's enough. I've been to a couple of parties in the past couple of weeks, and they're fun in the sense that you're drinking, and things are always fun when you're drinking. It's so weird talking to people again after a year of just not talking to anyone. The first thing I think that's really weird is eye contact. You're talking with people on Zoom all the time, and you kind of forget what it's like to just look them straight in the eye and just, I don't know, it struck me as extremely awkward at first. Then after like half an hour, I got over it. I don't know, it was more people than I've seen all year. But as I was talking to people, I just had this constant nagging thought that, oh, this conversation isn't going as well as I want it to. I don't even know what I'm looking at or what these impossible standards are that I'm looking for. I don't know if this is just me, but I don't even know if we should think that things are ever enough. You're young only once. There aren't that many times in your life when you can genuinely pursue things and have them lead to something substantial. When you're an adult, you can pursue things all you want, but the time you have before you have to be successful for it to pay off is substantially less than it was when you were still a teenager or a toddler or whatever.